welcome to a view from the cab this morning. And what I want to talk about today is tunnels. I want to talk about tunnels. As everybody knows, I've been opposed to this Lower Thames crossing thing, just purely on environmental grounds and stuff. You know, damage to the environment, the open space, green area, you know, the animals, you know, all that sort of thing. I've been opposed to it. My thinking is they need to work out why there's such a demand for the Dartford crossing. Why do we need more capacity? Well, it's because public transport is rubbish and overpriced and infrequent and unreliable, you know, all those sorts of things. And now they've said with the Lower Thames crossing, they've put the plans on ice for now because of the greenhouse gas thing, you know, and the carbon, and it'll create so much carbon in its construction and then in the future. And they said, well, we can't have that because it's just too much environmental damage going on, which is a good thing. I think it's a good idea to shelve it. If they was to improve public transport, I'm sure Dartford crossing wouldn't be as busy if there was an alternative. But anyway, so now because I've looked at articles about, you know, from Highways England and newspapers about the Lower Thames crossing, and I get stories, because that's how Google works. I'll get stories about other tunnels and other road and rail projects, and I saw one the other day. Now keep in mind that the Lower Thames crossing was shelved because of the amount of carbon and greenhouse gas and everything. Then they say, well, actually a tunnel between Scotland and Northern Ireland would be a great idea. And I just think, is there something wrong with you people? I know they've got to keep themselves in work, but you've already had one tunnel shelved because of the environment, and now you're saying, oh, let's build a really big one that probably wouldn't serve much of a purpose, really. I don't think it would. Not in this day and age of Zoom meetings and, you know, all this email and stuff. In this day and age now, we've proved with this recent situation, or the current situation, that we don't actually need to be travelling that much anymore, because we've got technology. You know, I mean, I've got a nephew that is engaged, you know, in daily Zoom meetings with his college and stuff, and his tutors and lessons and all that. I mean, I don't really know that much about the Zoom thing. It was explained to me the other day. My sister tried to explain it, you know, and I was like, right, okay, you know, it sounds good, sounds like a good thing. So, you know, the days of people having to travel the length and breadth of the country for meetings and things, you don't need to be face to face with people. I suppose if there's goods and freight that could be moved by rail under the Irish Sea, maybe it might benefit. But then you've got these great big container ships now. I mean, you see the size of some of these container ships that are running around, and you think, crikey, you know, and all they're doing is building them longer and wider and bigger, you know. So we don't need to be moving people around as much as the current situation has demonstrated. And we've got enormous ships that can move vast amounts of freight around. So is there much point in having a tunnel under the Irish Sea linking? I mean, it sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Oh, let's link, you know, but they're not gonna, it's all gonna be rail, isn't it? It's not, they're not gonna let you drive. I mean, you can't drive through the Channel Tunnel, simply because it is so monotonous. You know, I mean, even the people that work in the Channel Tunnel, they've got the, as you know, there's 3 tunnels. You know, you've got one goes one way, one goes the other way, and in the middle is a service tunnel. You know, for emergencies and servicing and maintenance, that sort of thing. Anyway, but even the people that work in the Channel Tunnel are not allowed to drive for more than, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. There is a limit, because driving through it is just so boring. It is, everything is the same. So the people that work in the Channel Tunnel, that's their thing. They're not allowed to drive through for too long. So the ordinary Joe public isn't going to be allowed to drive through. So it'll all be rail. But is there, I don't know, and they talk about, oh, we'll have to build. I mean, I was reading one this morning, a tunnel in Scotland and blah blah blah, under the Forth, the River Forth, I think, and it'll cut off this great big corner, this great big detour, and it'll save lots and lots of time. And you think, well, yeah, but you know, people don't need. I mean, I was listening to the radio yesterday, and they was talking about this sort of thing, and how in London there'll probably be a surplus of office space, because people are just simply not going to the office anymore. They're working from home. You know, as many people as possible are working from home. Of course, there is the old argument of, well, employers actually want people to go to the office so they can make sure they're working, not just sitting around with their feet up slurping tea. You know, because they just generally don't trust people, do they? Which is fair enough. If I'm paying somebody 100 grand a year, I want to make sure they're doing their work as well. I wouldn't like the idea of them sitting in their front room in their pants drinking tea and watching daytime TV when they should be buying and selling and all that, stocks and shares, and time is money, blah blah blah. So yeah, so with the, you know, the current situation's proved that times are changing. The way we do things or did things is changing all the time. You know, working from home, Zoom meetings, you know, you can email the other side of the world instantly. You know, it's just, you know, it's just the way it is. You can do a video call on you know, Telegram, WhatsApp, Messenger. You know, that's just the 3 I can think of straight away off the top of my head. You know, and as long as you've, you know, you could call Australia for free. You could sit in your front room and talk to somebody in Australia for free, because you've got, well, it's not really free because you've still got to have your Wi-Fi connection, but you're not being charged by the phone company. It's just a free thing. You know, to all intents and purposes, it's free. You know, so why do we need to be moving numbers of people around as much anymore? I don't think we do. You know, we don't need to be tearing up the environment. We don't need to be bulldozing over all the green space and the green belts and the, you know, the places of beauty and this high-speed 2 that they're building. You know, yeah, they're gonna link London with everywhere else and blah blah blah. And you know, I don't really think it's going to be of that much benefit. I mean, if I'm wrong, then I'll put my hands up and say, well, I was wrong. I don't really think I will be. It'll just be another one of those things that they decide they want to build, and you know, it creates jobs, it creates employment for people, which, you know, is fair enough. You know, somebody's getting a job out of it, people make money out of it. The environment suffers, of course, because man, especially in Great Britain, just seems to want to bulldoze everything. Just want to concrete over everything, and I don't really understand why. I mean, I'm the complete opposite. You know, that's why we've got a housing shortage in this country. And if you read the reports and you look at the data and the statistics, it's just there's houses, just not where people want to live. I mean, Middlesbrough, I'm going to pick on Middlesbrough, was voted the most depressing place to live in the UK a few years ago. I've never been to Middlesbrough, so I'm not going to comment outside of what I've just read in the papers and stuff and on the news and what have you. But if people want to go where they need to spread the work around, they need to spread the money around. I mean, you've got this north-south divide. Everybody wants to live in the south, you know, but I don't understand why, because all there is concrete here. There's no, you know, you look at the Yorkshire Dales, yes, it's up north, but you know, they've got places like the Yorkshire Dales, and you know, but we need to spread everything around a bit better, rather than have everything concentrated in the south and the southeast. We need to spread things around, you know. Yes, it might rain a lot in Middlesbrough and it might be a bit gloomy and a bit depressing and a bit run down, but if, you know, I don't know, it's all, you know, and it's like here now, we've got these temporary traffic lights because there's a drainage problem in this little village. It was flooded here last week when we had all that horrific torrential incessant rain, and they've got a drainage problem. They've always had a drainage problem, you know, but rather than fix the drainage problem, they'll just pay for a truck to sit out here pumping it out when the weather gets bad. You know, there's no sort of joined up thinking in this country. It's all just so short-sighted. I don't know, I just don't get it. Why not just fix the drainage problem? It's like you see these signs, road liable to flooding. Well, just fix the problem then. If you know it's liable to flood, why not just fix the problem and stop it being liable to flood? I just don't know. Oh, no. It's just easier to put a sign up and tell people it might flood, rather than spend money on fixing the problem. We'll just put a sign up because that's cheaper. We can pay a couple of blokes half a day's money to just put a sign up. I just don't get it. There's no sort of joined up thinking. There's no big picture in this country. Yeah, we'll just build loads of tunnels everywhere, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. Well, yeah, I do worry about it. I worry about lots of things, you know. I mean, if you look at go back to the Channel Tunnel, you know, the spoil that they dug out from the tunnels themselves, they used to be, you know, expand Dover by sort of 90 acres or something. You know, they reclaimed some land there and they reclaimed it back from the sea and what have you. But so, you know, you want to, oh, I want to build a 400-mile tunnel. Yeah, all right, that's a good idea. Where are you going to put the soil and spoil from a 400-mile tunnel? Yeah, yes, we'll have more land, but you won't be planting trees on it. They don't seem to realise we need trees. Trees, you know. Trees are so good for lots of things. It's like with the floods that we had a few years ago. Oh, well, if there was more trees further upstream, then the houses that were built in the floodplains wouldn't have got flooded. But they never plant any trees, because trees take up space and that means money. You know, they say, oh yeah, well, an adult oak tree can drink up to 500 gallons of water a day. Well, if it's drinking 500 gallons of water a day, that's less water running downstream to flood the houses you've allowed to be built because you just want the money. You know, that's 500 gallons less just from one oak tree. and the last thing you want in your house is an extra 500 gallons of water. Believe me, I would, you know. But I don't know. I don't know. This country's gone very strange. This country's gone very peculiar. Like I say, there's no big picture. There's no joined up thinking. Every one of these ministers and MPs and civil servants have all got their own little agendas, based on whatever colour tie they wear. They've not really got the best interests of the country at heart, you know, and that's a shame, because we live in a great country with great people. You know, I know we moan, you know, moaning in the UK is like, it's just a national pastime. It's just what we do, it's what we're good at. But that being said, there's a lot of good in this country. There's a lot of good people. I mean, yes, there's a very, very, very small minority of people spread around the country that will always want to mess things up for everybody else. But the majority of people, 99.999% of people in the UK are great people, and they've got greatness within them, you know, and we just need to embrace that and put this country first. Not in a bad sort of a way, not to the detriment of others, but we need to think about our own country and our own infrastructure, and we need to think, well, we don't need that, we just need to change the way we think and the way we are, you know, rather than 4 billion people piling over the Dartford crossing every day. Let's have a think about what we can do as an alternative, you know, so we don't need to tear up the countryside, so we don't need to, you know, ruin our own landscape, our God-given landscape. You know, this is a great country, and we need to I don't know, start trying to bin off some of these MPs and stuff and civil servants that are not in it for the people. They're just in it for themselves and their own little agenda. Like this little puddle here, you know, this was flooded all the way across the road the other day, because they won't fix the drainage. It's just better to let people drive around it. But anyway, thank you for watching. That is my view from the cab today. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye for now.